So we are officially recording, Josh.
You got me in casual Friday.
Yeah, man. It's a good Friday though, so it's a good Friday. So yeah, man. I just wanted to kind of ask you a few questions, and also get some feedback on how things are going. Especially, I want to hear the before, the after. But before that, just tell me about about your business. What do you do? How long you been doing it, so that we can just get a feel. Who's Josh?
Like me in general, like as a real estate investor.
Mm-hmm. And a
I've
business.
been investing since the last crash, which most people, if you're probably under 40 years old, you don't remember it, or you were too young to know about it. But I started when I was in 2009 working part-time, and then I remember in 2009, like everyone said that the DC region was like recession proof. If any city in the world is recession proof, it's probably DC, because I think it's like 50% of all tax dollars in the US stay inside the Beltway. So I don't know if you know the Beltway. There's like a highway that goes around like a circle around Washington, DC.
No, I've been to Washington DC. I stayed there for about 2 years, so I know exactly what you mean. I drove my bikes there, so I'm familiar with the area.
So I mean, like, if you can imagine, 50% of all tax spend in the country goes inside that little loop to
man, that's crazy.
The Beltway bandits.
Wow.
So like 2009 comes along, property values get crushed. People were like, well, DC will never be affected. And then by about 2009, even places inside the Beltway were like 50 cents on the dollar. And when I started in 09, like it was about middle to late 09, prices were still dropping about 1% a month. It was the fastest rate of drop in the last 50 years in the US. And I remember like looking at properties in like Falls Church in these areas, and people were scared. Like everyone talks big when times are good, but when times are bad, the money just dries up. People were literally scared to do anything. They were just sitting at home watching. Well, we don't know when it'll stop dropping. Got my first deal right around that time, and then never stopped really. And then became a renovator in 09. Renovated houses all the way through about 2013, 2014, and then started building new homes. We became a Class A home builder, building a very niche product from about 2014 to basically the middle of COVID, 2020. So we had a concept that was called affordable luxury new development, and it was basically a way that we could deliver a brand new house and keep the price point affordable, which nobody was doing as a builder. And that worked pretty well as like a business for about 6 years. Then COVID hit. As everyone knows, like labor, materials skyrocketed more than 2 times. And we're sitting on, I think it was like 8 or 9 luxury builds. These are affordable luxury. So for DC, that means they're 1.1, 1.2 versus like 2 million and up. A lot of homes around here that are new construction are like 2 million, 2.5 million and up. So ours were like the cheapest you can find for new construction, 1.1. Like we're like 50 cents on the dollar of most luxury builders. But we're sitting on like 8 or 9 lots like that. And we're concerned, like, because the COVID happens, and then like March, there's like a 60-day window there where everything just froze. I'm like, man, we're about to lose everything. Like our buyers on the deals that we had sold, finished, completed construction on there, we had like 2 or 3 of them. The buyers were dropping, like their financing was falling out, like while the loan was trying to get approved for them to buy. So we're like, some of these deals we were like 2 to 3 weeks into the closing, and one of them was like, yeah, my wife just lost her job, loan is denied. The other one's like, my husband just lost his job, loan is denied. I'm like, oh my God, like the last one, we're like 2 weeks from closing. I'm like, is their loan? The lenders are literally checking if these people are employed on the date of closing. I'm like, the last one we had, I'm like, man, is this thing gonna go through? Because like the day of closing, they're gonna check.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's time to run for the hills now. So the market's opened up, as everybody knows now, like, and like the deals got sold. but that moment I was like, I'm done with building for a while. We basically fire sold everything off. And about, I would say by summer 2020, we started wholesaling full time.
Wow.
And
Wow.
we basically transitioned our building staff into the wholesale model. We had about 5 or 6 people in the beginning. My project manager became my sales manager. My design consultant became my underwriter. Everybody transitioned into this new role. And then January, we sort of hit the ball rolling, and we're very tech oriented. I come from an engineering background. I worked in a military institution for like over 10 years in research. Nice. And I realized maybe my best skill to contribute is not having a builder license, knowing how to build anymore, because I learned how to build from somebody who also had a military background for more than 40 years. The guy who mentored me on construction was like a guy who he built literally airfields for the military. He built like hangars, he built like anything you can imagine, he built it. So I learned how to build from him. But then COVID hit and I realized maybe my best skill is applying like technology to this industry. No one in the wholesale industry is really super tech savvy, in my opinion, which is what I really like about Esteban, like this whole Facebook approach. I think it's novel. Personally, we've spent a bunch of money on Google Ads. I spent the last 12 months of 2021 just diving deep on Google Ads. So we've invested a ton of money in that. We're spending somewhere between $1,100 and $1,400 a day on ads now on Google. And we've really figured it out. We have a Google consultant on our team now. So we've grown the business from like 5 people or 5 or 6 people in the wholesale model to now we're at 21. Most of them are virtual. And I see like with technology, I mean, the real estate game has changed forever at this point, in my opinion. And it's now about tech and like what I couldn't have dreamed of doing 10 years ago, where real estate is like not limited by geography. Because for 10 plus years, I was an investor who thought that my target was, 10 miles radius. That's it. And now it's like 18 different markets.
Better, eh?
That's
awesome.
The game has changed forever. And I think either investors today, like they become like super tech savvy, or find people that are like an Esteban to help them. And also they have to also realize that geography is no longer a limitation as an investor, which up until now, I don't think anyone could ever say that in the history of the world. You didn't see 50 years ago or even 10 years ago an investor in New York trying to buy property in Tennessee or like California. Like it didn't happen.
Yep, not at all.
But if you're an investor who's looking for the best of the best opportunities, and for 10 years, I mean, we struggled to get, Northern Virginia is a very competitive market. There's a lot of savvy investors here, a lot of big money, throwing around. For us to even do like 2 to 3 deals a month as a builder, that was we did better than most, honestly. Like there's very few people in Northern Virginia who could say they built, 2 to 3 deals a month in this market. And now I look at that, I'm like, man, it's really nothing, because if you expand your horizon and you're investing in like 18 markets or 20 or even nationally, 2 deals a month is nothing. It's really nothing.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's true, man. That's an incredible story, Josh. You came from, from you have a lot of experience, So then, like a quick question, then how did you came in contact with Hustle Media and Esteban?
So a friend of mine starts a platform called investorlift.com. This is the same guy. He's the CEO of InvestorLift, Robert Wensley. Robert comes to me around March of 2020, in the middle of COVID. He's like, dude, why are you still building? Why are you lifting hammers? Why are you getting contractors? Why are you doing all these, he sees our projects. He's like, why are you doing all these things? And I'm like, that's just what it is. That's how it goes. And so he starts a platform called investorlift.com. And he's like, the world is changing. He's the first one to tell me this. Like, the world is changing. Tech investing is becoming, or real estate investing is becoming all tech heavy. He's like, try this out. You know, with my platform, you can do deals in other markets. He works on me for probably from the beginning of 2020, I would say, about 6 months.
Okay.
And then June 2020, we just take a chance. We do our first deal. We wholesale a deal in Orlando. I think we made like 25 or 30K on that. It's like, dude, this virtual wholesale really works. And not only that, like that deal, we never saw the deal. We never met the seller in person. It was all over the phone. We never met the buyer. We never did a walkthrough. The things that we'd always done for years, we never did any of it. So I was like, dude, this virtual model really works. And now with COVID, with inflation heavy and everything else, material shortages, labor, you know, this might be the business model to pivot to. So the bottom line is we go all in on Investor Lift. I think we become client number 3 after Tariq El Moussa out in California. And today we're one of the 50 cartel members. So the 50 cartel members are the sort of mega members who are just crushing it. Some of them are doing, you know, $1 million a month, 10 million a month even. So we're now one of the members of the cartel membership. And it was through that membership, there were 2 or 3 other, what you call cartel bosses that highly recommended Esteban because they've been working with him prior to even Investor Lift. So
nice.
a couple people in there like knew, I think, Esteban since like 2018. And I'd already spent a lot of time, you know, doing homework and research and learning about Google ad, but I didn't have time anymore to like dig in on other stuff like Facebook ads. So I was looking for a turnkey approach, and these guys were like, yeah, man, Esteban's the real deal. Go meet up with him. He'll get you up and rolling. And he's like, you'll get at least a 5x return, if not more. And that's pretty much how we met Esteban. And then the rest is pretty much history. So now I think Esteban knows like Robert Wensley as well. I think everyone's sort of started sort of the same community at this point.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great story, man. That's amazing. I love networking because it helps you to you know, to find those people that are crushing it, and they share their secrets. Say, I'm using these guys, they are crushing it, so I want to crush it as well. So, man, that's a great. So, but how was your, you know, I know that you said you started your wholesale company, but how's things before working with Hustle Media? Like, how was you know,
I would say with Hustle Media, we got 3 or 4 deals in the first 3 weeks. So
that was 3 weeks.
Yeah, first 2 or 3 weeks, we got like 3 or 4 deals. No joke. I think Esteban brings a really tech savvy approach to the business. You know, sometimes you need someone who, unfortunately, people get stuck in their ways. Like me, myself, as an investor, I hate to say it, but for 10 years, maybe I got too close-minded. Like, you know, this is the only way we can do something.
Yep.
You know, do direct mail, do text message, do, you know, cold calling. You get very stuck in your ways of what works. You know, only do this geography, only do this type of product. I think Esteban is one of those guys who he put a lot of time and effort into figuring out a new way to do things. And honestly, I think very few people have figured out how to do Facebook ads effectively. So I think this is pretty impressive what he's come up with as far as a novel approach to getting, you know, legitimate leads on Facebook. So hats off to Esteban. I mean, I think he's done a great job with that.
Yeah, man. It's as an employee as Hustle Media, we are constantly learning and improving, you know, the things that we normally do. So I'm learning, man. So I'm grateful for that. But you said that you had like 2 to 3 deals, like in the first 3 weeks, right?
I think it was like 3 to 4 deals in the first 2 or 3 weeks. I'd have to check the timeline, but
that's amazing. That's amazing. So, like,
yeah.
what's some of the process that you followed to make those deals? Because I know some of our clients, maybe they're struggling with following up. They're struggling to, you know, to get these people under contract. Like, what's your secret? How did you do it?
The biggest hurdle, honestly, is like being willing to let go and put in place processes and a team around you that can do it better than you can. I'm not gonna lie, like I've spent the last, I mean, Three-Step Home Sale, our company, I'm the CEO of the company. I mean, we're very much still a startup environment. I mean, we've been around for basically 15 months now. I'm not gonna lie, the first 12 months, I probably spent 10-hour days, 6 days a week. A large part of that was reinventing the whole company and coming up with systems that work, as well as training. So like, for example, our closing team that we have on acquisitions, you know, we train daily, at least an hour. They train even on Sunday mornings for 3 hours, you know, breakfast time, 8 a.m. to 11. We found like a sales methodology that's worked for us, and we train all in on that. So, I mean, the bottom line is, like, unless you have a team with a very, you know, strict system and process in place, it's hard to grow an organization or be successful. So, you know, we look at a lead as like an opportunity that just comes in. So a new lead comes in, you know, who goes after that lead? How do they follow up? What is the message? How do they qualify it? Once we're done qualifying it, all of our deals go to our underwriting department, which at this point is like a team of 3 people. Our underwriters analyze the deal. They figure out, you know, does it fit our buy box? Does it not? Is it something we could do creative? Is it an opportunity for somebody else, but maybe not for us? They go through all these different metrics. They also analyze the deal based on where it is in the country, what market it's in, what kind of property, what kind of risk factors there are. Our underwriting team has spent the last year coming up with, you know, those metrics, that system, that analysis. And then if we determine it's an opportunity for us, or it's the right deal for us, then it goes to a closer who has that right conversation in terms of closing the deal. So like,
awesome.
So everything here pretty much in a nutshell is like, it's very systemized. Everybody knows their role. And we're trying to build more people into those same roles to expand the firm.
100%. No, I love the fact that you guys have processes in place, number one, and also those you know, employees have been trained how to do their jobs, and it makes easier, or makes the works easy. Okay, and you know who's accountable for, right, so that you can hold someone accountable, which is very, very important. That's amazing, Josh. I love it. So that's why you guys are having sex.
The one thing I would say, like, and you read about this, you hear about this a lot, like, a business is not growing unless you're dropping a bunch of footballs. Like, if you're catching everything that you find, like, you're thinking too small. So I'm not gonna lie, like, we have stuff like falling through the cracks in every direction right now, but that's also kind of by design, because I know that, you know, if things were not falling through the cracks, that means our company's not really growing. You know, we're not finding like bottlenecks in our system. We're not finding, you know, points of weakness that need to be addressed. So we're like any other growing enterprise. I think right now we're fumbling the football too. Like, you know, if we could have closed 8 deals this week or 10 deals this week, maybe we closed 6, maybe we dropped 3 or 4. Maybe we don't have enough people. Maybe the process is not quite right yet. Maybe the conversation missed a couple things that we should have picked up on. But we're constantly refining too, based on what we see.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And then just a quick question then, like, how has social media brought value to your business in terms of, I know that you mentioned that you have your own processes in place, you know, but how's social media able to add to that process that you guys already have?
So I would tell you one thing that really sticks out in my mind right now that was a game changer for us in the last 3 months. Okay. The automation, the sequencing on the, so I look at it this way today personally. If you have a new lead, we use Esteban's approach for automation to follow up on those new leads that haven't responded. The ones that have responded, that we're still having issues getting back in touch with, that we have like a human element of interaction. But if it's a new lead and it's like, and this is something that Esteban taught us, you know, directly, if it's a new lead comes in, you, for whatever reason, you've done your triple dials, you know, if people know what that is, you do your triple dial in the morning, you do your triple dial in the evening. That's another thing I think that Esteban teaches everybody. If you're not getting response from that, then it stays in that automation sequence. And that automation sequence actually has been an unbelievable response rate. taken that and applied it across all of our pipelines.
That's awesome.
And that's only a small piece of what I think Hustle Media can do for you. I know he has a lot of weekly trainings that I'm guilty of not going to too many of them. It's been too crazy, but I mean, he has a lot of great trainings weekly. There's a lot of value that he's trying to add to the community.
Yep. And Josh, also, if you miss those training, they're available on the membership academy. You can always go and rewatch it, because I go to those trainings and I feel like, man, I'm getting so much value. Imagine as a business owner, how much value that you get. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Especially addressing those bottlenecks that you mentioned, because as you're growing as a company, you need to constantly change how your processes are. And because if you remain the same, and plateau, then it's a different story. But you guys mentioning about growth, you mentioned about, scaling the business, which is amazing.
I mean, Esteban's a lot like me. Like, I want to learn like every day. I don't want to be stuck in the same place for 10 more years. I mean, if you're not learning in the industry, then you're really not growing. I honestly believe that people who did not pivot during COVID, I honestly believe this, and this might upset some people that view this if they do. People who did not pivot during COVID and find a different way to do this business, they're going to feel very left out very soon, because just like everything else, real estate market, the industry is in very quick transition. And you're either staying up with it or you're getting left behind. So
100%.
I think a lot of things that you guys are teaching, a lot of things that you guys are doing for your clients, if you're not doing it in the next 12 months or near future, you're going to have some issues, more than likely.
I 100% agree with you. Especially COVID has taught us a lot of lessons and how to run our business. And if you're not online, then your business is not going to be there for a long time. Okay.
And I honestly think you're starting to see that fallout right now. I think a lot of folks are getting frustrated who don't have a digital footprint, who don't have digital advertising. The folks who are doing the same thing they were like 12 months ago, they're getting left behind, and they're even leaving the industry completely. That's my observation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So just tell me, like, what would you say to someone, let's say they're on the fence of joining the team of Hustle Media? What would you say to them? Like, hey, man, just give them like golden nuggets. What would you say to them?
I would say this, like, you got to give everything a fair chance. Like, you have to give it a fair chance, but you also have to put in the work. And if you're willing to keep an open mind, build a team around yourself, put in the work, put in the hours to make it successful, that Hustle Media is a partner that can make you successful, but you have to do your part. And that's true of anything. Like, if you do your part, I know that Hustle Media will do their part. If you take the chance, it'll really come down to you. Like, are you willing to put in the work? And if you are, it's going to work out for you.
Yep. Yep, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. No, thank you for that, Josh. And then let me see, because I feel like all the questions that I had for you answered them through.
But hands down, I give you guys 5 stars. I mean, you guys are running an excellent business. I think you guys are an excellent partner for us. So hats off to you guys.
No, thank you, Josh. And what I like about you as well is that I remember, when we talk about your ads, the leads that are coming in, it's like, hey, Artie, can you just bump it up, man, add some more, and then you get more leads. So like, man, increase it more. So you're not afraid to use more budget because you understand the processes. You understand you need more quality leads. And that's the one thing that I was like, man, this guy, he knows what he's doing.
I'm gonna get more people on board here soon, and then we're really gonna crank this.
Man, that's awesome. And then what's your goal in terms of the partnership of Hustle Media? I know you're growing your business, but what's some of your goals going forward?
Honestly, with Hustle, I'd love to be able to put enough budget out there to do 20, 30 leads a day in 2022. That's my goal. I want to be able to honestly get like 20 to 30 a day on Google, 20 to 30 a day on Facebook, and maybe 10 a day from our offline stuff that we're doing, a little bit of niche stuff. But that's really the goal.
Perfect, man. I love it. I love that you're planning for 2020 already.
I
I
know
mean,
I know
2022.
our budget's really low for that right now, but I'm trying to tighten a few things up, get more people onboarded, train them up. Honestly, right now is our goal is to get people trained up, onboarded, and ready to go for January. So we're a little behind the 8 ball right now because there's 45 days to go.
That's true.
Minus vacations and New Year's and everything else.
Yep, and holidays. So no, man. But yeah, just like I said, I didn't want to take a lot of your time, but thank you for just giving us feedback on how Hustle Media has brought value to your business. And then yeah, as you shared, you gain a testimony about the systems that are working for you. But you also understand that those systems are not there to replace you, but to assist you. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the ultimate goal, because sometimes I feel like clients, they just want the system to do their thing and then they don't do anything, and then once things doesn't go accordingly, it's like, no, this is not for me. So I'm great. You are a great example of following up with the leads, making sure that you're getting enough quality leads by adding more budget, and yeah, you're doing your part. And when we do our check-ins, I go confidently because I know that you are doing all these things. I'm not there to school you. It's like, hey man, you need to follow up with your leads. So you already you have processes in place to do that. So no, thank you for that. And this is the type of clients that we want. But in the perfect world, then
I would tell you one thing that I learned really well, I think, this year from having the wrong people and having the right people is, people say like your business is a story of numbers, right? A lot of people tell you that. Nobody really does it. Like they get some numbers, they do a KPI sheet. Do they get the right numbers? Are they accurate? Do they really tell the story that you need to see? I think part of what we've learned this year in 2021 is like, what does the right KPI sheet look like? What are the numbers you really need to track? Are your employees, do they know what the expectations are? Do they know, what needs to be on their KPI sheet? What is that supposed to look like? If they're not hitting those targets, why not? I think that's also a big part of like operations side of the business, that a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't get it. They just don't get it, or they don't know how to do it properly. And I think that's one of the big issues I think that a lot of people face. I know I personally, like, that's been a problem for me. And I think 2021 we figured it out now. Like, what do we really need to track? What do we need to look at? So now we have an operations team. We have an operations team that's pretty much all they do: compile the numbers, analyze the numbers, provide recommendations, meet with each employee and manager of each team. Hey, here's where we're at. What's going on, guys?
Yep.
I think that's a key piece that entrepreneurs overlook, though.
That's oh man. I love it, man. I can talk with you the whole day. I'm getting value as I'm speaking to you. That's amazing. So you have the operation guys, they're doing the numbers, making sure that the KPIs are in place, and
You know,
you're not doing everything by yourself, because you understand that you need to focus on the growth of the company.
yeah. So we had the team managers of each department, and the team managers are like compiling KPIs for each department, but the operations team is analyzing that and like making sure it's right.
Okay.
What does it look like? What are our recommendations? That's a big part of like the entrepreneur side of this thing, that like I think whether you're the sole proprietor or whether you're trying to grow a team, you really can't overlook that aspect. It's going to be hard to grow like without proper tracking, in my opinion.
Yep. Tracking is a key element, because you need to know, especially when you run ads, you need to know where your dollar is going, and then you're able to track it, whether this one is good or this one is not good. So that's amazing, man. But Josh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time coming in here, having
Absolutely.
this strategy call, and sharing some of the things that you are doing and the things that it has elevate your business, and some of the things that we are doing to assist you. Just like I said, we love to be partners for a long time, because if you are happy, we are happy, right? But then
I go to bed at night. I wake up in the morning with a Facebook ad from you guys that says 30-step home sale. I'm happy.
Exactly. As long as you're happy, we are happy, man. So then we know that we are doing our jobs, right? But thank you, man. Thanks again for coming up and sharing some of the things that you shared. I hope those who are listening, they will take a lot of value in the things that you are doing, and start implementing them in their business as well. So especially the following up part.
And by the way, you guys do a great job of like checking in and holding us accountable, which I'm guilty of that too. Like I should be more consistent on the weekly check-in, but like I think you guys do a great job of doing that. Like I don't know too many, services even the last 10+ years. I mean, once you sign up, they never check on you ever. Forget once a week. They don't check in on you even in 6 months, like one time. So I think you guys do a great job all around.
No, thank you, Josh.
For going above and beyond.
Thank you. We appreciate that, man. It means a lot. Any last words before I let you go?
I will definitely be at the next check-in.
I'll hold you accountable for that.
We'll look at some real data here next week.
Awesomeness, man. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Enjoy your weekend. Take care, man.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.